Hey all, Kunik here, back with another tabletop RPG horror story. This one is a little bit on the long side, so if I end up splitting this video into two parts, I'll try to get that second part out as soon as I can. But, with that said, let's roll for initiative and get started. In early 2019, I was invited by a new work acquaintance, we'll call him Stonk, to sit at his new table. I had a few months before my next campaign got started, and I've only been a player twice in 15 years, so I was stoked to get the chance to do a deep character dive. The group initially consisted of 4 people, a human cleric of Pelor, a centaur monk, a human druid, and myself, an Aasimar Horizon walker named Fox Kakana. This was Stonk's homebrew world, and he was very proud of it. You wouldn't know it, but Stonk was new to dungeon mastering. I say you wouldn't know it because he very deliberately gave the opposite impression while recruiting us. You would know it after playing with him for 2 months. I did. We all did. I chose a ranger deliberately because I knew it was comparatively underpowered, and I wanted to explore how I could develop a character like that. I picked Aasimar because I thought the racial features offset the underwhelming class nicely. However, during Session 0, he nerfed the race by moving their flight power from 3rd level to 5th level and removing radiant damage resistance. When questioned, he chuckled and replied, "Oh, I get it. You're a min-maxer." Please take a moment, as I did, to put the words ranger and min-maxer together in your head. Isn't there a subreddit for sentences that have never been said before? I could fill up pages with Stonk's bad calls, bad ideas, and bad behavior, but it all comes back to his beloved, brilliant plot. Stonk's plot was amazing, which I knew because he kept telling me it was. He was so excited for us to see what would happen next in the plot. Once, he confessed he was going to turn the plot into a book when the campaign was over. Deviation from the plot was subtly, but inevitably punished. And nothing deviated from the plot more than when Fox tried to make friends. This is their story. The Stinky Tale of Salty. Early on, we were in a bar to find the plot, which, oddly enough, was never easy to do. There was a skinny, beat-up dog on the floor, and Fox and the party wanted to help it. However, that was not in the plot. Suddenly, the dog was also old. We persisted. He also smelled terrible, absolutely reeking. We persisted. The dog continued to acquire flaws, like an orgy formulating, like an orgy transforming into a gibbering mouther before our eyes. Stonk did not seem to understand that we abused animals engender compassion rather than suppressing it. Fox finally managed to buy the poor thing for 20 GP, which she said because at that point none of us were backing down. Upon purchasing the animal, everyone took -3 to their charisma checks. Don't ask me how this walking stink bomb was chilling in a food establishment. Weird that no one else noticed. We decided to take him down to the ocean to wash him off. This did not work. Baffled by this, we debated the best course of action when Salty, as we named him, coughed up a blackstone and dropped dead. Fox, standing waist deep in water, cradled his small body in her arms, disregarding Stonk's reminders of the powerful stink, as she tried to have a moment to grieve. The party wanted to give Salty burial rites, so Cleric said a prayer to Pelor. Stonk liked that. He liked that a lot. So the Blackstone became a good luck stone that gave +1 to all of our rolls. Yes, all rolls. But only for clerics. Okay. The Tragedy of Robert. We rode the train through Plottsville for a few sessions as we chased a sinister half-elf running a drug ring in town. The drug was made of distilled plot berries and forced the consumer to follow the orders of whoever gave it to them forever. Okay. We spent an entire excruciating session on a zipline trying to follow Count Plotula across the chasm. A thrilling race that involved rolling to stay on the zipline every 10 feet. And an inscrutable system to determine if we sped up or slowed down, thus bumping into each other and necessitating more rolls. The chasm was a mile across and had a 500-foot drop. Don't worry though, even when we failed rolls, we still just managed to hang on, by the skin of our plot. Eventually, the wind force created by so many meaningless rolls pushed us to the other side. We made our way to the top of the cliff, don't ask, where we found hundreds of cultists chanting endlessly. They were bedraggled, and malnourished, some of them dropping dead before our eyes, only to be carted off by the other shoddy cultists. One thing was clear. These poor fools had been smoking plot rocks. Fox was determined to save them. When she found an invisible wall for the plot around them, she fought to save even one. Everything she tried proved fruitless. Until she remembered she had stolen several bottles of distilled plot berries in a previous session and decided to force feed it to one of the cultists. Caught between the plot and a hard place, Stonk conceded that this did indeed free the cultist of his death chant. But the cultist was on death's door. Fox fed him several good berries. Stonk did not think that was enough, until he was stable. His name was Robert, and Robert proceeded to vomit plot all over us. Too many good berries, I'd wager. He had been a member of the town guard until the dreaded plot caught him in its grip and forced him to perform this chant until he dropped dead. There was a quarry nearby that Count Plotula often went to, and where the dead cultists' bodies were taken. Robert had a wife and child back home. He missed them. Fox used every healing ability at her disposal to help him. Not the Divine Aasimar one, though. That one got nerfed too. She burned 2 spell slots, gave him new clothes, she made him a bed to rest in, hidden away from the ritual. She promised she would come back for him once they went to the quarry. In short, she demonstrated a level of affection, compassion, and caring she had been hesitant to do until now. Stonk rolled his eyes the entire time and gave meaningless looks to the men at the table. These looks were not returned. Steeled with resolve and purpose, Fox and the party descended into the quarry. And that's where we'll end this part. Just from what I've gathered thus far, it really seems that not only is the DM new to DMing, but I would put a big wager on the fact that he's new to playing Dungeons & Dragons or tabletop games as a whole. One of the best things about those games is that you can freely do whatever you want within the story. It's not a video game. You shouldn't be railroaded like the DM is doing here. If you have a unique and creative way to save a life that the DM otherwise wants to kill, but there's no valid reason to kill it over saving it, it just doesn't make sense to railroad the players in that regard for these two stories. Yeah, those are just my 2 cents. Check back in a few days to see part 2 of this story, and we'll see however this concludes in that part of the story. Anyhow, thanks for listening. If you are interested in the content of this story and want to hear more, definitely hit that like button and subscribe button. They'll certainly help out the channel with growing. And yeah, keep on role-playing, and look forward to the next half of this story.